cameras, action. Now let's engage in the dialogue. Let me browse through your mind like a catalog. Conscious metaphysics, allow me to break down the specifics. Educate, motivate. If you don't feel free, you can liberate. An LLC is what I'm building, the #1 podcast in the building. So let me slide on up in the Bentley truck in my Versace shirts. They can't get enough of this deep conversation, expansion, elevation. I'll send you a link you can tap in. It ain't quite what I used to do back then. Now I get it on the front and the back end. Multiple money streams keep coming in. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Enlightened, empower, evolve.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Bryon Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. I believe everybody's doing well and everything is unfolding perfectly. I'm excited yet again, and you already know why. I'm not even going to finish the rest. I have an amazing guest today who is a website content expert, a manifestation coach, a mad gardener, a dedicated student to the meditation work of Joe Dispenza. Oneness Evolving. How are you doing today? Oneness.
I'm just so grateful to be here, Luke. And It's like, I look back and when was it that we talked last? And it's like a million lifetimes ago. Probably feels like that for you too. Anybody who's on the journey of change and transformation. Yesterday? Who was I yesterday? Yes. Every day is a lifetime.
So many things. Yeah, because so many things
changed
has happened,
so much
within the last year.
Yeah. And I'm not, for me, I'm not even talking about what's happening in the world.
Right.
Because
for yourself.
I quite consciously choose not to engage with a lot of what's going on out there. Firstly, because I can't do anything about it. Secondly, because it just brings me down. Thirdly, because I'm so freaking busy working on my own change process. That's the best way for me to contribute is to change myself.
Just like what you just said there is already powerful right there. And I just wanted to hit a pause on that and just elaborate on that. If what's happening around you or in the world is, you can use that in all aspects of life. If it's not helping you to grow, if it's just everything that you just said, if it's not helping you in some way, why pay attention and give it any energy?
No.
And like you said, keep yourself busy with your own, and that's not contrary to what a lot of people might it might appear to sound as selfishness. No, it's self-care. It's self-love.
But there's a very strong program, and I'm aware of this, and I have to make very conscious decisions about it because people say, "Oh, yeah, that's really cool. This is a good idea. Keep your energy to yourself." Because as my inspiration and hero Joe Dispenza says, where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and neurologically and energetically, that's absolutely true. Right. But then I think, and I have this conversation with myself, I don't know how often, but it happens, not as often as it used to. But shouldn't I know about what's going on in the world so I can be informed? Shouldn't I know more about what's happening politically and economically in my country so I can be prepared for whatever might come? And I'm thinking, actually, what difference does it make to me knowing what's going on around the world, because I can't do anything about it? Really, I am not going to be an activist because that is not where my power and my passion lies. And even the situations in my country, again, where I put my attention is where I put my energy. What value am I delivering to anyone, never mind myself, by saying, oh, there's that coming along and that could really be bad for me? Okay, right. It hasn't happened yet, but right now my body's in fear. And when because I'm thinking fearful thoughts or I'm anticipating something bad to come, and immediately my body goes into that mode that we do so easily of, oh, I've got to prepare for something. And now I'm much more focused on something that's not here yet than I am right here. And my body is getting the chemistry that there is the potential of a predator that's going to jump out from behind a bush and attack me.
Right.
So
something that you have no control over anyway.
I have
Right.
no
Yeah.
control over it. But
Right.
that right there is actually hurting me epigenetically and chemically and hormonally and in every way physically. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, because I've learned this and I understood that this is actually what happens when we get scared or we get angry or we get sad and we stay
Right.
there. Okay,
Right.
everybody reacts. You're not going to go through life and not react. The point is how long you're going to stay there. And, people stay in these scared or upset or whatever states for their whole entire lives. And then they wonder why they get sick. Now, the
Right.
reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I have physically healed conditions in my body that don't normally get better
Right.
because of what I have learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza. But then you learn it, that's one thing. But to actually apply it and to recognize, oh my God, my entire life I have been run by fear.
Right. Which
And
equates to uh
stress,
illness.
anxiety. Yeah, it will
Yes.
make you sick over time.
Dis-ease.
And
Right.
and I wasn't terribly afraid. I didn't even realize that I had a sort of low grade hum of anxiety until it started to dissipate. Now
Right.
it can come back. It's very, very easy for me to do that. Okay. I'm just being upfront. This is my thing. Some people have a predominant emotion where they're just angry all the time, or they're bitter, or they're
Right.
resentful,
A
or they're
default
sad
emotion.
all the time. A default emotion.
Yeah.
My default emotion has been fear,
Fear.
not,
Same here. Same
yeah,
here.
yeah.
For
It's
a lot of
just,
my life,
we,
I've
we,
been
we
afraid, oh,
prepare for the worst.
yeah,
We
like you
prepare
said,
for the
the
worst.
monster's gonna jump from behind the yeah.
Yes, yeah. So you totally get it. So for me, I'm always in this journey, and particularly at the moment, because literally yesterday, I just closed off a very stressful thing that's been running in my life for nearly 5 years.
Right.
And it's been massive. And my body is actually still reacting to that. And I have to keep on. No, I'm not going to go back. But it's
Right.
a journey because there's so much hardware in my head and
Oh, it's
so many
work.
things, so I've just got this journey. So when
Oh
I
yeah.
say that I'm on this evolution and like yesterday is a lifetime ago, I really mean that today. But I always mean it because like I have this meditation journal. I meditate clearly. And I mean, sometimes I write a little bit, but sometimes I write a lot because there's so much that I learn about myself, or the guidance that I get, or the instruction that I receive. And it's
Right.
not do this, do this. It's profound, it's
Right.
divine, it's the wisdom in all of us that is the unified field, that is God, that is source,
Right. Right.
oneness,
Yeah. Your
wholeness,
own into yeah,
the
you're
0
connected.
point.
You're
Well, you
connected.
connect with
Yeah,
all of
yeah, right.
that.
Right.
So I get that.
You're a receiver of that information of
And
yeah,
a
you're a receiver.
transmitter.
Right, right.
And a
And a
transmitter.
transmitter.
When I work
Right.
with people, it comes through me, and it's
Right.
it's it's just so natural now. But the point I'm trying to make is going off, and I can be doing that. I can be self-regulating. I can be choosing where I'm placing my attention and what I'm going to feel and what I'm going to watch and who I'm going to talk to, and all of that. Or I can be keeping in touch with world events because everybody else does it and that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I feel this pressure inside myself that says, but everybody's supposed to know what's going on in the world. You're supposed, it's like, who says?
Who said that?
Really?
Right.
Why do I have to do that just because everybody else does that? Because it's what everybody else has always done. I
Most
don't
of that
have to
stuff,
do
if
that,
I might add, and
So go. Yeah,
I'm not
just
judging
don't.
anyone, but I will say this from my perspective. Most of that stuff is driven by fear and it's money based and it's a lot of distraction.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
pointless, frivolous distraction.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you can get an emotional reaction from somebody, you've got them because you
You've
have
got
their
them. So you
attention
can get them to buy into this. Oh, you need this in case
to
this
make that
happens.
feeling
Oh,
go
I gotta buy
away.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You
mean,
need to
you
stock up on
clear.
this because this might happen. Okay, I better go stock up on this.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. And we
Once you
all
have
have
the
these things
yeah,
inside of it. It's you know, we evolved the physiological biological organism in which we have this human experience
right.
evolved in a situation where if there was plenty, you'd better hoard it because winter's coming and it's going to be cold and there'll be no food. But
Right.
now the challenges are different. And if we're still responding the same way, which is very easy for us to do, but we're not conscious and we don't have the tools, and man, do I need those tools, and man, do I use them, because I'm just
Right.
like you and everybody. I react, but I don't want to keep reacting because I made myself sick and I don't want to be sick anymore,
True.
So, and I have the blood tests to prove that I've changed it, which is
Right.
awesome. Um, so it's possible, but
Right.
but it's this process, this process of
Definitely
literally
a
becoming the
process.
master of myself. Forget about mastering anybody else. If
Right.
I can master myself,
Myself. I love that. I
I
love it.
actually become the master of everything else.
Right.
And I
Right.
don't need to be the boss of anyone else. I only need to be the boss of me.
Right. Right. Yeah. Our biggest, really our biggest enemy is the one that's within. If we can conquer ourselves, and
Mm.
master ourselves, then everything else is
And
easy,
our
dissipates.
greatest power is within as well.
Right.
And this is where I get all neurological. Okay, you're going to have to put up with me doing that. But I think this makes sense. You see, there is this monster within us, but the monster comes out when we feel threatened. Because
Right.
when we feel threatened, and again, I'm quoting Joe because I have listened to Joe Dispenza so much that it's in my head, but it's true. If
Yes.
you
Share,
perceive a
please.
threat in your environment, the primitive part of the brain, which is designed to help you survive when the saber-toothed tiger jumps over the rock or the chasm yawns in front of you, whatever it is, that
Right.
part of the brain turns off the thinking part of the brain. The thinking neocortex, the part of us that has logic and reason and conscience and ethics and all of that are gone. There is no blood flow to that part of the brain
Oh,
once we're under the hammer of the stress hormones.
of the stress and the
So
fear.
if you get that adrenaline hit, or your stomach is churning, which is what used to be me all the time, guts just always, you know,
Right.
that
That's a
feeling, or
very
where
uncomfortable
it is,
feeling.
it's a very uncomfortable feeling,
Right.
and it's designed to help you survive. And so when that's happening, what's happening is that blood is being diverted to the extremities so that you can run.
Right.
The eyes become very, very focused, like you open your eyes wider and you just narrowing your focus to where is the danger? What do I need to avoid? So that's the environment, right? You get very focused on, oh, is that person going to send me another mean message? Oh, is that person who's sick, are they going to die? Am I going to get sick? Am I going to die? Is my car going to break down? Whatever. We get very focused on what the problem might be so we can
Right.
anticipate it.
Right.
And then we are worried about my body. What's going to happen to me if this happens? And then we're worried about, and if I have run out of money and I'm not getting paid until next week and I need to feed my family, there's all this time. How am I going to deal with this time? So it becomes all about the body, the environment, and the time. And that is all we are interested in. And you will walk over people, you will hurt people, you will say things that you don't want to say. And you think, oh God, I should never have sent that email. What was I thinking? You weren't thinking,
Right.
you were
No
running from
blood
a
was going
tiger.
to that part of the brain, so you weren't
And this
thinking.
is not working when you're stressed. And that's why
Right.
people can't think when they're under extreme stress because the thinking
Right.
part of the brain is just offline. You are running on automatic programs, been there for millions of years. Now,
That
that's the monster.
that's amazing. If I might elaborate a bit,
Yeah,
how you just in without getting too complex, that you've broken down that even though we are the same person, we're not the same person.
it depends
Giving
how the brain is working.
yes, we're
Yes.
not the
And the
same
heart.
person under different emotions. We actually
No, we're not.
change. Things
We totally
change.
change.
Right. So that's
So
amazing.
it is totally amazing. And when you see somebody you think and then suddenly boom, they're someone else. What's
Right.
happened
That's
is
what's
the
happening.
brain has gone into that highly aroused state.
Right.
Now, to take you to the other side of that, what I have been practicing and will continue to practice every day of my life, because I know precisely who I would be without it. And I never want to be that person again because it's so damn painful. Is this process of taking what becomes a very incoherent brain. And by that, an incoherent brain is a brain where things are disorganized in there. Um, and if you are thinking, oh my God, that text, and oh my boss is mad at me, and oh my God, I'm hungry, and my foot hurts, and my kids are, whatever, then every time you think one of those different thoughts, there's a different neurological network in the brain that goes boom. And when that little network fires and you have that thought, there's associated chemistry that comes with that. And that gives you the feeling of just what you were thinking. It's really immediate. And that's why you can be bumbling through your day and you're feeling all good. And then suddenly something reminds you of some painful incident from 20 years ago. And then you immediately feel like crap.
Right.
And it's because that thought is still in your brain. And when it fires, you get the associated chemistry and it changes who you are, just like you said, Lute.
Right.
So what happens when you have all of those things going, oh, my phone, my child, my job, my money, my time, all of that. The brain becomes very disorganized. It's like a family and they're all yelling at each other.
Right.
It's a house divided, or an orchestra where there's no conductor, or complete chaos. And there is a process which I have learned to do, which Dr. Dispenza has taught me, and anybody can learn this, and you don't need to spend a lot of money. I did a lot of things just with a book and a couple of meditations, and there's a lot of stuff that's free on YouTube. And by the way, I don't coach people in doing this, but I'm talking about my process and I'm talking about what I'm working with and what I now understand. So make that clear. I do other things in my coaching. And I recommend this work to a lot of people, but I'm not qualified to teach it. So I just talk about it because it's kind of in me. I've learned it. So there is a process by which instead of narrowing your focus on all of these different things going here and here and here, and I've got to run and I've got to hide and I've got to fight, or one of those three, you can actually learn to open your focus. And what the research shows is that when you open your focus into the space around you, if you keep doing it, because the brain has gotten really used to all this chatter, and the body has gotten
constant chatter.
It gets addicted to the stress hormones.
Right.
Those hormones are actually addictive.
Yes.
And so you can be addicted to being stressed even when you want to not be stressed.
Chemicals your body release and all that. You're
and the body goes, it actually gets conditioned to feeling like that. So you just think, I don't want to feel stressed. And your body's going, I'm used to this. This needs to carry on. The body wants things to stay the same.
You function,
even when they're horrible.
You learn to function in dysfunction
at a certain way. Yes, and it becomes normal. So it's incredible. Our normals can be so abnormal, and it's just who we think we are.
Right.
So when you open your focus, what happens is if you keep doing that and keep doing that, and there's a process, and I'm not going to talk about that, or we'll never get anything else said, eventually the brain starts to slow down, because instead of thinking all of those thoughts, you're just focusing on space. So you're using the parts of your brain that pay attention to space, and therefore you're not using the parts of your brain that think those thoughts. So you're literally taking the energy out of all the chattering voices and putting it into sensing space. And what happens when you do that is that the voice in your head finally shuts up.
Wow.
And there have been days when I have been doing this, it's like, oh my God, I'm back. Because it shuts up. And more than that, the parts of the brain that were very disorganized, they actually start to sync up and organize themselves, and they connect up, and you literally start to feel more like yourself than you have in years or months. Yes. Or you start to feel more whole, and there's just no other word to use for it. And when I first heard this, it's like, what do you mean feeling whole? I had no idea what that meant. Now I know. It's amazing. It's bliss. It's ecstasy. And when you're in that state, your brain is working and it's a symphony in there, then the information can come and it can flow. And and I mean, this recent experience that I've alluded to, I've had a knowing about that. And it's been a knowing, Divine said to me, you are not going to understand this. You just have to do this thing that you have to do.
Right.
And it was very hard. And I did it, and I know it was right, and I still don't really understand it, but I know it's such a powerful knowing that I had to act on it, even though it was very, very hard.
Powerful knowing. I like that.
Yeah, and it's a knowing that is so innate that you can't argue with it, even when your brain is coming up with 50,000 reasons why this can't be right. But and you know that you know, and you know that you know that you know, and you just know. And that kind of coherence and being able to shut up my brain and find this peace in myself, and then to actually discover that I've got a heart and that it can feel, because it was so shut down. that I didn't know how to feel joy. Joy was a word that I was like, oh, shut up about your joy. I
So
don't know what your joy
overshadowed.
is.
Yeah, right.
It was just
Yes,
closed. It was shut
right.
down.
Wow.
I didn't really understand about elevated emotions, and a lot of people don't. So all of this is to say that's the other me that is oneness. Because oneness is wholeness, is unity, is connection, it's the unified field, it's everything. And I've been playing with changing my name. People might remember, who the hell was Maddie Schaefer? Well, I still go by that name legally, but I'm in the process. I will do the legal deed later,
Right,
because there's such a lot of other stuff going on right now. I don't need to be doing that legal process. It's going to take months to put it through.
right.
By the time you change all the accounts and everything. But I am becoming oneness, noneness, evolving, because that is who I am. I am this.
That's
And
amazing.
I love my old name, but it's just not who I am anymore.
Yes, it no longer serves the new you now.
It isn't, it's got
And
too
and
many
I
associations.
totally
Oh,
resonate with what you're saying, and it does not sound at all a bit odd at all, because we go through stages in life, and you're not the person that you were 2 weeks ago. And especially if you know and embrace what life's about, which is about growing and evolving and
yeah,
learning, and like you say,
it's really
mastering
nothing else.
yourself. Right.
Yeah, yeah, which is the new thing. It's taken me 2.5 years to find.
Yes. And the thing is, like you said, it's a process. And that process, no matter what,
Mm.
is never going to cease. You're never going to get to the point where you say, oh, where you say, I'm at my top self and I can't go any higher. No, you're going to keep
No,
going.
well, at that point, I just leave my body.
Then you just leave
I'm
your body.
done. There's
Right.
nothing else to
I'm
do.
done. I'm supreme being now. But
The
yeah.
joke is we're a supreme being now,
Yeah, we
but we
are.
don't
We
know
are.
it.
We are.
We don't know
Exactly.
it.
But I
Me
was
too. I
just,
forget all the time. I know,
yeah.
I know.
No,
I'm
we are.
joking.
I
I'm
just
yanking
meant
your
it.
chain.
Yeah, I just meant it in a way that
Yeah.
we didn't we are never going to get to a place
No,
where we stop evolving and growing
no,
and reaching and learning
never.
different perspectives and different ways and different, life is
All the
that. Life is this too.
experiences.
Life is that.
Oh my God. Yes, life is
Right.
life is the depths.
And
Life is
we
all of
try to
it.
work hard to keep it on this part, but
Yeah.
yeah. hmm
Yeah.
but
Yeah. We could get terribly
life is
philosophical
contrast.
about.
Right.
Yeah, and life wants to experience all of it. But right
All of it,
now,
dark and light.
we are choosing what we experience in this moment. Oh my God.
Right. Right.
Don't send me down that rabbit hole. It's such a deep one.
Right.
So, so where next?
No, I'm enjoying listening to you. You are really just elevating what you
Oh, thank you, Luke.
or the way
Yeah.
you're articulating what you just said. It makes so much sense, and
Yeah.
it's so enlightening. You sharing.
Yeah. Well, I love the information, and I will do a shout out because I have such gratitude for what
And Joe
Dr. Joe
Dispenza, by the
Dispenza
way,
has
he's
done and
he's
discovered.
amazing. I have a couple of
And
books
the
from him.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
the way the research is going now, it's just mind blowing, and
right,
we are seeing a change.
we are,
This will change the way
we
people
are.
view medicine. It will change the model. It's going to take some time, but
Right.
we're in it. So I'm very grateful to be part of that process, and I'm very grateful that it's taken time. Oh my God, but it's
Yes,
it's fed into me finally knowing what I want to be doing and also being in a space to actually do it. And
yes.
so,
That's the important part.
yeah,
You can
was it
know it all
two
you
years ago,
want and
last year?
research it, but when you
Yeah,
actually
but
do it, when you're actually living it, that's a whole different thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So more than a couple of years ago, or is it three? I have lost track. There was the 6th of July, 21, I think. I drew a line. I was doing a daily live on Facebook, a coaching live, because I coach. I love to coach. And all of this that is me comes through in my coaching. But I have struggled to manifest coaching clients, and I have struggled with abundance, and I have struggled with money. Not that I've ever been on the street or even in lack because I arranged in this lifetime not to have to face that challenge. And I'm eternally grateful that I didn't choose that this time. But it's been this tremendous barrier for me and frustration. It's like, yeah, I'm okay and I'm not going to die and nobody's going to starve, but there's all this stuff I can't do. And I just can't get out of this bucket. It was like, wasn't even a glass ceiling. I was like a frog in a bucket. And it's going to leap out. And so I'm kind of, and I drew a line under doing those lives because those lives were, I love doing them. It was about a 20 minutes that I'd stand up, I'd walk around in my garden, or sit here and show people crystals, and then I would just talk about a topic. And they're all on YouTube, or 350 of them or whatever. And there are still replays that I post every weekday on Facebook. And I went into the void 2 years ago because I drew a line. I knew it wasn't serving me. I was done. It was like I was just, I've got nothing else to say, and I'm having conversations, but nothing's coming out of this. And I just knew one day, I just knew this is done. I have to stop. So I went into the void, and I've been posting replays in the void ever since. And at the end of last year, I think it was literally the day before New Year's Eve or something, I thought, I'm ready to do the new thing now. Because I've been working on abundance, right? This whole abundance thing, and stripping away the layers and, God, finding all the fears and the whatever, it's all
Right.
my meditation
Whatever's
journey.
blocking. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just, it's just a deep rabbit hole, whatever. Don't really care. Because it's just whatever is the next thing that I'm overcoming today. But I started to think, I remembered something that I'd seen somebody do years ago about Patreon, and I decided, I think this might be the thing. And long story short, I went to the Patreon website and I looked at some of the successful creators there. And I saw, they've got this page and there's an intro and they have offerings and a picture. And I thought, okay, well, let me write my intro. And 3.5 months later, I had written it 5 or 6 or 7 times, and I'd started to get an idea of what it is that I wanted to do. And part of the reason why that was so hard, harking back to, I should keep abreast of current affairs and, all of this, they say, and I should, and this is what people do.
Right.
Was realizing, because I was thinking, there's this intro and then you've got these offerings. And I could watch myself. I write the thing and I think, oh, that's cool. And I go back the next day and think, but you're making a rod for your back. You know what it's like to be doing a live every day.
Right.
And it was really cool. And I was aligned with it at the time, but I am not aligned with that now. One of the things that I have had to learn so deep and so hard, because I've done it hard, is not to do it hard. And if I'm so whatever it is that I am, then I can have a YouTube channel, which I had to start again because I needed to change the email address. And I think I got up to 33 of, I was sort of heading towards 100 subscribers and I had to start it again. And I think, I told people, and it was 30 something. I have posted nothing in YouTube for the last 2 years, new, and it's got up to 66 subscribers all by itself.
Right.
Just on the strength of what's in there, and probably because of what I'm posting in Facebook, none of which is new, right? And I had to keep reminding myself, if I can do that and be doing nothing, and if I'm still getting followers and people just because I'm posting replays, I must not do it hard. I have to love this.
Right.
I have to absolutely want to do whatever it is that I'm committing myself to do, because when I commit myself to do something, I do it.
Right.
I am relentless in that regard. And also, I don't want to put things up for people and then disappoint them. I want to do this really well. And it finally occurred to me, this was in the middle of last year or late last year, every day I have truly amazing experiences in my meditation.
Wow.
I do. There's very few days when there isn't something that's kind of wow. And I mean, I have had full on visions and energy flow through my body, and the brain gasm experience didn't last for long, but it was amazing. I've been in walking meditation where I felt energy leave my body and I knew I was healed afterwards. And I got the blood test 3 weeks later and I was. I have these experiences, And because they're just what I do, it took me all that time to realize people will be interested just in that.
Right.
And they want to know how to have it themselves. And I'm still this person that, as you have pointed out, communicates things really well that I understand. And I like science and I like spirituality, or rather, I like energy and I like connecting with God, source, divine, 0 point field, whatever you want to call it, and getting information. And I had the most amazing, I have one awesome client and I've worked with them. I don't do, you will do 10 sessions with me and then you will be fixed. I refuse to make those kind of promises. I like to work with people over
Right.
time, incrementally. And I've watched this person transform. And the last time we met, it was just mind blowing. This information came through, and I watched. It was like a switch. The lights went on,
Right.
and suddenly this person was just lit up like a
Yes.
Christmas tree, energetically, and grin, and oh
Connecting,
wow, it was
connecting with the your inner
with
power. The yes,
truth and
yeah,
a
inner
healing
truth.
or whatever. It was
Right.
just astounding. And of course, I didn't do anything. I just opened up and allowed that person to connect to their truth because I was able to ask the right questions. I'm good at asking questions so that people can say, "Oh, you mean that's the forest that I can't see for the trees?" And it's often a case of, hang on, there's a question loitering. There's something is. It's literally, I'll say this, something's wiggling, and I'll feel it, and I'll tune in, and I say tune in, and it's like, it's not, it's just, oh, but I feel this, and it comes out of my mouth as a question, and it's, oh yeah, and
Right.
it's, I'm never, it's like, just take it if it's useful, but it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly it. And it's like, oh cool, it's, I just get out of the way. It's just what I do innately. It's what I have learned to do. So I love to do that process. But a long time ago, I realized a couple of things about my coaching. One, that, well, nobody's coaching is for everybody because everybody's different, a different vibration. But it seems that my coaching is not for everybody. But also, I have it in my heart to want to impact many people. And you just can't do that when, if you're working one on one, it's not possible. And
Right.
so it's like I've been looking for a one to many means for a long time.
Right.
And so this Patreon God of Me, patreon.com/God of Me, is this, it's literally, it's like a little chicken hatching out of the egg. It's so new, as I said to you before we started. The page is published. The Patreon page is published. I haven't even put up a post yet, but I'm going to do a live on YouTube once a week. That'll be a little learning curve for me because I don't want to do them in Facebook now. I want to do them in live, and then I'll share the replays in Facebook. I haven't worked it out. It's so fresh and new. But I know also that I'm going to be picking highlights from my meditation journal and just writing about those and saying, this is what I did.
Yes. I believe
And this is what happened. And this kind of experience is available for you. And here's some of what I know about how that works. And it's really nice being able to just demystify it for people. So you
right.
can say to them, "Oh, well, maybe that was what was going on in your brain, in your body." And this guy said to me, "Oh, I see stuff and I get this information and it scares me." And it's like, dude, you're just able to tune into frequencies that are a little bit, it's faster than the speed of light, or it's outside the spectrum that you can see. But you're just receiving information, mate. It's not going to hurt you. It's okay. But people freak out. They think it's something weird or demonic or miraculous, but it's not. It's just what we're actually able to do, but we don't understand it. And
Yes.
the science is now a little bit, it's catching up with these facts that they're measuring amazing things now about what people can do. So yeah,
Yes. Yes. That amazing. Yes. I want to cut us short because we're about to end here and
yeah,
leave the rest for the next segment. But I just
yeah.
want to thank you for coming on today, Oneness,
It's been so
and
much fun.
thank you everyone for watching.
Come and
Enlightened
see me on
Empowered.
Patreon.
Yes, Enlightened Empowered Evolved. We'll see you soon. Sending everyone peace, love, and happiness. See you soon.
Blessings.